And we are live, guys. Welcome, girls of high value, to another live session. My name is Joseph Darling. What we're going to talk about today is beauty. And we're going to talk about it in terms of being an unburdened or a burdened woman. I have a definition that not many other people have when it comes to masculinity and femininity. It is my understanding that men were designed to be masculine. They were put on this planet, they were infused with 10 to 20 times more testosterone than women, and that is the masculine hormone. Okay, so masculinity massively infused in a man will motivate him to take massive action and to be consistent and to make things happen in his life and to become a man of power. The one thing that attracts a woman more than anything else when it comes to men is his ability to do, ability to act, ability to perform, and to create the results that he and she wants. That is masculinity, and it is designed for men to have it. You want a guy who is mostly masculine and a little tiny bit vulnerable with his femininity. Not too much, a little tiny bit. Most of it should be masculinity, and he should be a man of power. What does masculinity mean? The definition of it. That he is in full control of his emotions, and that he uses those emotions to accomplish good purposes, or his purposes. That's masculinity. A lack of control, the inability to control himself, the lack of self-restraint, that is something that's feminine. So a guy who cannot control himself is feminine. Now, at times, women will want a guy who kind of can't control himself. But if that's a consistent thing, and not like a vulnerability once in a while because he loves you so much, then it becomes annoying and you end up finding out who this guy truly is and you don't really want to have anything to do with him. Does that make sense? So you want a masculine guy who is completely in full control of himself, and the only thing that could potentially at some small times, a few times a year, where he's just like, he just can't control himself around you. Okay, so that's kind of the guy you want. All right, so on the other side, you've got femininity. For women. Women were designed by the universe to be feminine. Okay, they were placed, or they've had estrogen infused in their bodies that calms them and that puts them in this wonderful, mellow, always happy state if they are allowed to be unburdened, without responsibility, when they don't have to think about something, when they can just focus on their emotions and do what feels right at the moment. That's estrogen, and that's femininity, and it's being unburdened. The opposite of femininity for women, obviously, is masculinity. Remember the definitions? Being fully in control of one's emotions. The number one thing that women want is emotional freedom. They don't want control. Control means that there's boundaries. Control means that there's discipline, that it's strangled, that it's force. And it's not forcing other people, it's forcing yourself with discipline to do that which needs to get done. You don't want to be in that position of being masculine. And what makes you more masculine is burden. Okay, those are synonyms to each other. Masculinity, burden. Femininity in women, unburdened. Women are motivated when they are unburdened. Women lose motivation eventually when they're masculine. and burdened. Because they have to be leaders. They have to be an example. They have to be superwoman. They have to achieve and accomplish and get things done. It's exhausting. Not only is it exhausting, but eventually it's exactly what kills you. If you talk to masculine women, you will notice they have health problems. They have health issues. Ask them. They won't admit that it's because of their masculinity, but it is. If women were feminine, they would be allowed to focus on relationships, what makes them happy, and they would focus on their health. The fact of the matter that they're burdened means that they don't have capacity to take care of themselves, nor to take care of others. And what happens when women stop taking care of others? Others stop taking care of them. I know, it's horrific. It's horrible. And yet women are telling other women these days to, you can do it. You can establish. You can create. You can, you can succeed in the marketplace and compete with men. We need more women in the workforce. It's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it. You want a life full of joy and happiness all of the time, a life free from fears and worries, and you want to be feminine and unburdened for as long as possible. Because men have not figured out how to make you live forever yet, eventually the lack of understanding of anatomy in our bodies will cause us to die. And it happens to all of us. And it's happened to every single person pretty much, right? Who's been on planet Earth. We die. But when we're in our youth, in our teenage years, and in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 60s, and even possibly in our 70s, things become a bit difficult with our health, perhaps. But if you've been allowed to be unburdened throughout your life, it's very likely that you can get to 80, 90, 100, maybe even 110, 120. In this day and age, with the capabilities that we have today. If you are allowed to be unburdened. So, how do we make this happen? Well, first of all, we need to understand beauty in terms of men and in terms of women. Why would you want to be beautiful for men and women? Let's first start with women. When it comes to women, you want to be able to compete in the marketplace to get the right guy. Right? You don't want to get the lowest ranked guys because of your lack of beauty. At the same time, you don't want to compete with the girls on social media. You don't want to compete with the girls on TV. You don't want to compete against people who are succeeding, who are one in millions. Okay? The only person you want to compete with is you. And in some ways, you don't even want to compete with yourself. You just want to improve yourself a little bit every single day. But in order for you to improve yourself and work towards a better you, you have to make sure that there is consistency and no deadline. The only deadline should be doing something today. That's it. In terms of improving your personality and in terms of improving your physical beauty. Right? There's only two things. It's your mind and body. It's your soul and body. Which means that you improve your mind and soul and you improve your body with exercise and nutrition. Those are the only two things that you need to focus on in your life. That's it. Nothing else. In terms of your soul and your mind, it comes from relationships. Your happiness will always depend on the quality of your relationships. Your quality of life comes from a quality of relationships. You want to make sure that every single relationship in your life gives you energy and does not take energy from you. Consistently. So you have to find people who are unburdened. Birds of a feather flock together. If you are spending a lot of time with overweight, unhappy, depressed, burdened women, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to have the same mindset and the same thinking as them. You want to make sure you have the same thinking as women who are unburdened, who are feminine, and who are living the life you want. Because then you'll be influenced in the right direction. Women love to cooperate together and spend time together and laugh and dance and sing and just bubbly enjoy themselves. That's the lifestyle you want. But following the course of the world, of what they're saying is get a career, get good grades so you can get a good job. Wow, it's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time because it's not going to give you long-term joy and happiness forever, which is what you want. So set aside the things of this world when it comes to good grades, getting a good job, competing in the marketplace. You don't want to do that. You just want to make sure that you're safe and secure. And the way you're going to get that, okay, so now we've covered the girl aspect. The way you're going to get that is by being beautiful for the right guy. I'm saying the right guy because there only needs to be one guy for you. Do you really want to fall in love and then fall out of love multiple times in your life? Do you really want to fall out of love and yell and scream and be upset and have a guy cheat on you and have the emotional instabilities of being with a guy who's emotionally unstable? No, you don't. And this is exactly why you should refrain from ever spending time with feminine boys. Ever. This is why I tell you to get out of school as soon as possible. Beg your parents to homeschool you so you don't have to be involved with boys. If you know of a school where there's just girls, it would be so much better for you. If you know of a job, okay, if you're older than your teenage years. I'm talking to teenage girls here, but if you're older than that, if you know a job where you can just be around women. I know there's a lot of catfighting and there's a lot of issues there as well, but at least you're not getting involved with feminine guys. You want to have emotional stability as much as possible. Your productive systems don't always allow you to be emotionally stable. We understand that. We get that. And that's exactly why you should do everything you can to allow your emotions to be stable. So you don't want to be involved with feminine guys. You want the one right masculine guy to fall in love with and then to stay in love with for the rest of your life. Because if you do that, consistency in that in-love relationship will create exponential growth of that in-love feeling. Have you taken 10 times 10? And then timesing it by 10 again? And then timesing it by 10 again? Consistency is key. You push that calculator button to see how the exponential growth curve happens. That's the kind of in-love feeling and relationship you want to have. And in order to accomplish this, you have to find the right guy. It's essential. This is why it's critical that you don't do that on your own and don't rely on your emotions to find the right guy. This is a critical, utmost importance. It's the most important decision you make in your life. Finding the right guy. This is why I say get away from boys in your teenage years. Completely away from boys until you can find the right guy. Who is the right guy? Well, first of all, feminine guys like masculine women. Weird way, but they're polar opposites, and that's exactly why they attract. Okay, so feminine boys, I'll give you an example of a feminine boy. Around Oslo today there's a tagger, okay, someone who on the walls, right? And he uses white, and he's written all over town. Like, I think there's like 10, 15, 20 places where he's written, "I love sluts." You think that this guy, I mean, obviously it's not a girl. Why would she write that? It's a guy. Why would he do that? It's because he's feminine. Sluts are burdened. If they weren't burdened, they would focus on finding the right guy instead of being emotionally unstable and not being able to ever retain the right guy. If women could choose, they would want to have a guy who's emotionally stable and keeps them happy at all times and all places. Right? Would you want a guy who's emotionally unstable? No. But that's the kind of guy you get when you're a slut. But it's not you who's a slut. It's the fact that they're burdened. Okay? The more burdened women become, the more masculine they become, the more issues they're going to have, and therefore more problems in their sexual relationships and more problems with guys, because the guys are feminine, meaning emotionally unstable and unable to control themselves. Remember the definition of femininity and masculinity. Femininity is the inability to control oneself, and masculinity is the complete control over oneself. Okay? That women try to do that, to be masculine, to control themselves because they're being told to do so. But the problem with that is that eventually it will always come out. And usually it comes out during the weekends when they go and drink and they're unable to control themselves. And it could happen on a daily basis if they're popping pills. They're unable to control themselves. Exactly. So what you want is a masculine guy who is able completely to control himself, who uses discipline in every single aspect of his life, who is ambitious, who's motivated, and who is going for his goals and dreams. An ambitious guy who thinks big. That's the guy you want. And you have to be beautiful in order to get him, because that guy can choose any girl. But you want him to choose you. So what do you need to do? You need to focus on those things that are of most importance, and that is your mind and body. Not competing in the marketplace for money. You want to focus on your mind, your personality, your relationships, people skills, all those things that relate to joy, happiness, fun, of being with the right people who are unburdened. Really? Remember? Unburdened women, that's what you want to be focused on. And then you want to focus on exercise and nutrition on a daily basis, consistently improving yourself every single day. That's it. You don't have to think about anything else. As long as you do something every single day to improve yourself in terms of exercise and nutrition, your life will be fantastic when it comes to your health and your body. Just improve it continuously. Get rid of the substances, get rid of the sugar as much as possible, and then progress. Don't compete against others. Those things will make you attractive to the right guy. You know what's really cool? Those of you who actually watched this video all the way till now, you will learn eventually that I have another channel called the Men of High Value channel. On this channel, I am teaching men to become the right guy. Imagine the day when I have 1 million subscribers on the Men of High Value channel. Will you have someone to choose from at that point in time? Absolutely. Be part of this movement. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends so that you can focus together on creating beautiful, unburdened, feminine women who are homeschooled, who avoid feminine boys in their teenage years, who avoid parties, and instead make life a party without substances until they find the right guy to provide for them forever and ever, to travel the world, to enjoy life, to enjoy children, to have grandchildren, great grandchildren, and to create amazing relationships. This is the Girls of High Value movement that we're creating, and I'm so grateful that you're part of it. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you again tomorrow.